All right, welcome back, and we're very pleased to once again have with us the Lafourche Parish President, Mr. Archie Chaisson, and there you see him. And Archie, I guess, like I was just saying a little while ago, we're still in that recovery mode. Still people living in tents. Still people don't have their insurance money. Still people trying to get FEMA monies. On the other hand, you as a community, you're trying to keep moving forward. You got to keep that positive spirit going. So it really is a juggling act on how do you keep going forward, but then stop every now and then and turn around and go, well, there's still Johnny or Joe down the street who's living in a tent. So it is a juggling act, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt, Martin. I mean, you go up to Thibodeau and, things are back to normal for the most part, very small, especially in the city of Thibodeau. It looks like life is normal before the storm. There's still a few signs. You still see a few tarps up there. You come to the Central Lafourche, you see a little bit more damage. You see a little bit more debris on the ground. But kids here are going back to school, recreational type stuff. There's still a bit of soccer happening. Bitty basketball started this week with different age groups. And you get down to by, and your teachers went back to school today. Students are going to go back next week. More debris on the ground, more blue roofs, more houses down, stuff like that. So it really is a steep progression as you go down the bayou with what normal looks like. But we're getting there. It's debris pickup continues. That we've certified that kind of first pass throughout the parish. We're going to do that probably by the end of the week. So they'll trickle down. You'll start to see fewer trucks on the road as the bulk of the debris gets picked up. And I think we're going to have a bulk of that picked up hopefully before Halloween, so kids can trick or treat and enjoy those festivities like we do every year. Like I said, schools are starting to come back into play. High school football is happening again. Soccer and recreation, other things are happening in certain places. Although in the racing community, we kind of took up some soccer fields to build that FEMA camp, which I know was a little bit of struggle for some parents and some kids to have, not a soccer field to play on, but we're trying to work through those issues and find them other spots to play. But overall, we're getting back to normal, and it's been that housing piece that has been the struggle for us to try to get people, out of the shelter. We still have 22 families in the shelter, out of houses that are probably not safe to live in, that people may still be living in, and those people who are living in their tents or their cars. And I told somebody today I've been screaming for weeks about housing, and it's finally here, and it's wearing me out more than what it did to yell about it not being here. But FEMA and the state's program are almost converging at the same time, and we have 6 FEMA units, actual FEMA direct housing units, rolling in the parish today. We're starting to see those camper trailers that the state's providing starting to roll in. We met with Aptum, the state's contractor, this morning to try to work out some details about permitting and electrical hookups and try to figure out how they're going to set these things up and how those contractors are going to work, so we don't have a resident who got a trailer who's waiting on power to be connected or water to be connected. We want it to be a complete wraparound to where we call you and say, hey, look, you're going to have a place to live tomorrow, that you can show up tomorrow afternoon and move in with your family and get back to rebuilding your life. So we try to put as much as a positive spin on it. I've told people I've cried enough over the last 45 days. It's time to laugh a little bit, but still a long road to go for a lot of people.
And you make a good point. Yeah, we have the FEMA trailers will start rolling in, but if we don't have the electrical and the sewage hookups and everything else, and they have to wait any longer, it becomes tough. So you got to sort of stay ahead of the game. At the same time, using your energy to stay on FEMA and to stay on people to get the job done. And I know you were tough on them a few weeks ago, and it seemed to have worked really well, and it seemed to have put them in gear, so I give you credit for that. But you got to also do your job, and when you're spending all that energy on fussing at people to get their jobs done, it sort of wears you out sometimes for you to really focus on what you need to do.
Yeah, no doubt, Martin. And the job of the parish does not stop because we had a hurricane, right? I had to, our finance crew worked for a couple of weekends, 7 days a week straight, because I had to present a budget to the council, at our last council meeting. I don't get a pass just because we had a hurricane. The life of the parish still needs to move on. We still have regular everyday issues that we need to work through, whether they be your right-of-ways or projects or community development, economic development, activities that we were doing before are not compounded by the storm. So, when we talk, I was watching your interview with Assessor Thibodeau because I missed it the other day, and her talking about all the mom and pop, the businesses, right? It's reaching out to those businesses to say, okay, hey, what do you need to continue to survive and thrive here? The existing businesses, I don't want to forget that if you weren't damaged, how do we continue to take care of you and make sure you can grow and expand? The life of the parish does not stop because of a hurricane. And it really is a juggling act to try to make all that happen while you're focused on the bigger things because of the hurricane, still picking up storm debris, finding people housing, making sure that DSNAP and you're managing all these federal agencies that are coming in to try to help your constituents as well. So it's been a long 45 days, but like I've told everybody, we're committed and we're going to be here until the end and put this place back together.
Yeah, and I'm going to come back in the second segment. I want to talk about insurance specifically, but in closing, about a minute left in the first segment. You make a good point, because the reality of it, these assessors are looking at the reality, and they're saying they have pretty good hard stats. But you as a parish president can be the biggest cheerleader. Then you go in there and say, okay, we're going to blow these stats away because we're not going to live by the stats. You need to stay in Lafourche. You need to stay in Terrebonne Parish. You're not going anywhere. We want you here. What can we do to help? That's basically what your mode is going to be, isn't it?
Yeah, we had a town hall meeting in La Rose the other night, and Corey Keefe, the president of the Levy District, was very blunt, talked about you got two options at this point. Do you stay or do you go? And we do live in a very risky place when we talk about floods and hurricanes. But look, no matter where you go in the country, there's risk. There's wildfires, there's tornadoes, there's snowstorms. Look, hell, Manhattan flooded because of this storm. So no matter where you go, there's issues. But Lafourche is a damn good place to be, and I want people to stay.
I have properties too. I'm handling my mama's properties, and I'm dealing with companies that have been around forever. I remember my grandpa had stickers on his car, and we're fighting with companies that are supposed to be helping people, and we're getting nowhere. Some people, including myself, have not received a dollar yet on insurance. We're trying to run our businesses. It becomes very frustrating when you have to deal with this, when you're expecting that all these premiums you paid, that they're going to be waiting to help you out. But all those slogans they have on TV, to me, are useless. The insurance commissioner on this show the other day said C- at best. Okay, I thought he was being nice. C-. What would you grade right now?
Whew, that's a tough one, Martin. I think I'd agree with Commissioner Donnell, and if not, go a letter grade lower. Look, we're all in this together, right? My adjuster didn't show up until last week, and I don't think that's a fault of my agent. Look, I know these guys are overwhelmed just like we are. But look, people need help, and you would think after, I use the same analogy I used with you multiple times with FEMA, right? You would think after all of these disasters, if we go all the way back to Katrina, we look at Laura and Delta of last year, that these insurance adjusters would have their act together. I've been in a house, I bought my home 12 years ago after my wife and I got married. I've been paying the same premium almost for 12 years, never made a single claim. I've probably given those folks probably about $1 million if you added it all up over the years. And it took me 43 days to get an adjuster to my house. Now look, I'm very low on the list. I had very minimal roof damage. But even when you look from a parish perspective, we own 32 buildings. We're fighting them as well to try to get, the $20 million worth of coverage we have to put our lives back together and get people back to work, whether they be libraries or government complexes or, getting people back to court. We had a huge meeting with the judges yesterday about the repairs to the courthouse and the annex so we can meet our judicial obligations to people that are in jail or trying to get civil matters taken care of or whatever it may be. So it's been a very slow process. And it's troubling for people as they have to fight it. And then when you do get an adjuster to show up, you get lowballed, and then you either have to waste more time out of your day, whether you're working or whatever your day consists of, to fight them, or you have to go hire an attorney and take even more money out of your pocket to get what you deserve after years of paying premiums and not having a single claim.
Yeah, and I want to say this because it's important. Just because you're the parish president, or I'm on TV, or judges, or district attorneys, or representatives, some of the agents who own the insurance companies are getting screwed. So, it's an equal opportunity deal here. So I don't care what walk of life you are, what status you are, everybody across the board is getting screwed in these deals. Now, I'm not saying by everybody. Some of the agents and some of the companies, and I'm starting to gather information, seems like the smaller companies are doing pretty well. But these big, gigantic corporations that advertise on all these football games and all, and I'm going to start signaling them out next week, are just not coming through. And it's frustrating people because, they keep telling you on the phone, well, go repair your stuff or go fix your structure. But if you do that and then they lowball you, you got another bill on your hand, you might not be able to afford it.
Yeah, no doubt, and it's tough. You know, look, I'm going to give my agent a lot of credit. You know, I've had a Farm Bureau policy with the local Lafourche Parish Farm Bureau office for 12 years now. The Wednesday after the storm, I got a text message from my agent. He had driven by my house and filed my claim for me. I think our local agents are doing a hell of a job with fighting for the people who they represent and who they meet up at Walmart and Rouse's and everybody else with during the course of the day. But once you get to these desk adjusters for these bigger companies who may be from God knows where, doing God knows what, you get bogged down in the system. And it's easy for those guys to say, yeah, go put a $15,000-$20,000 roof on, or go put a $30,000-$40,000 metal roof on, or fix whatever you got. And if you got the means to do it, that's great. But look, let's face it, a lot of people don't. And that's a hardship. And then you talk, well, you go get an SBA loan or go try to get FEMA to get help. Well, guess what? You walk into the FEMA office, and if you're insured, then you automatically get denied because they want you to go through your insurance first. So while you're trying to fight all of that, and you have water still dripping in your house, or you have wind still blowing through a busted window, or whatever the case may be, it gets frustrating, and it takes its toll on people. And the sheriff and I had this conversation last week. And it's something that we're going to work with DA Christine Russell on, and our internal folks is talking about some mental health to help people cope with all of this, cope with, how do you send, your kids back to school when they may not have a uniform. We had a family counselor in with our Head Start kids working through, how they're feeling about all of this, because we think about ourselves and how we're dealing with it, but sometimes we forget about the little kiddos and how a 3 or 4 year old may see the world now in a post-Ida world where they had to leave for a couple of weeks and they come back home and their house may not be there, their favorite toy may not be there. So you couple all this stuff together for an adult, it gets really tough, and it's something that I think you're gonna see the leaders of the parish start to work on as people are dealing with insurance issues. How do we help them keep them together mentally as well?
Yeah, you made some great points, and we'll stay on it as we close this segment. We'll stay on, and look, I'll close by saying this: there's some great agents out there. And my agents are fantastic, but once it leaves, like you said, it gets to a desk adjuster, and it leaves the local area. It's a crapshoot at that point. But I want to say I appreciate you staying strong on some of these issues for the people. And the squeaky wheel gets the action sometimes. You've been hollering up there, and when you need to. I don't want to let people think you're doing it just to do it. When you need to do it, you do it, and we appreciate it. Keep up the great work, and we're going to check in with you tomorrow.
Thank you, Mark. Good talking to you.
All right, Archie. Archie Chaisson, the parish president of Lafourche. And look, he has been hollering for your stuff out there, so don't think for one moment he's not fighting for you. And I'm editorializing, but that's okay. We'll be back.